Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. Okay, it's time. Right here. Get it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the live stream. I'm getting situated. I got the heater on in the background because it's cold out here. It's cold out here. We're talking about how many signs do I have today? Let me see how much I got for y'all. We got a really good live stream planned here today. I got 5 signs of what autism could look like at the workplace. So we're gonna have a ball night. It's gonna be a great live stream. Use the Service Plus button to drop me your details if you want to learn more about what we do over here, the services we offer, upcoming comedy shows, so on and so forth. And as I eat my food, I'm going to talk about why I couldn't go live stream yesterday. What's up, Rebecca? I'm hella hungry. So I was supposed to go live yesterday at 8 o'clock, and I went to the playoff game between the Seattle Mariners and the Tigers. The game started at 5 o'clock. I got there at 6:30. ADHD happens. And I figured, okay, baseball games are 9 innings. It'll be 2.5 hours. Maybe give it 3.5 hours at the latest because it's a playoff game. The game went into, what, 14, 15 innings? Like 15 innings. And finally, the Mariners won. But by the time the game was over, I looked at my phone, and TikTok said, we've canceled your live stream because you didn't go live. And I was like, damn. We had a good streak. So I rescheduled it to today, and we're back on track. So we're chilling, we're vibing. Rebecca, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You love the content I create. Thank you. You didn't say like, you said you love, so I appreciate that. Love is a strong word. I got a lot of love for you and my community as well. This food's so damn good. And Lizane says, I mean no disrespect, but when I saw you, I instantly thought Cool Runnings. I don't even know who that is. Is that a person? Is that a show? What do you mean by Cool Runnings? If it's a person or something like that, then it's a compliment to that person. Use the comment section to let me know what your name is, where you're checking in from, and introduce yourself as we get started here. You got a couple of minutes before I finish my food. I eat fast too. Oh, it's a movie. Jamaican. That's a good one. Jamaican. Hey, y'all are funny. Now I gotta Google it. Cool Runnings, Jamaican Bobs. That's a good one. That's funny. That's funny. I may have to watch that movie though. It's 90 minutes, so hopefully it's not too long. But that's hilarious. And that isn't any disrespect. That's funny. That's funny as hell. Bedlam says, found out I was autistic about a year ago. Still trying to find out how to function in the workplace. Well, you stumbled upon the right live stream. That's what we're talking about tonight. I got 5 signs of what autism can look like in the workplace. And we're going to talk about what it could look like, and not just that, but what we can do to survive, because you know you go to work to get paid. So work is a part of survival. Half of autistic adults after the age of 18 never find employment. So it's a big deal, and there's reasons why. So we have to talk about it. We have to spread more awareness. We have to come up with a game plan for how we can coexist at work. We don't have to be super employees, but we do have to make it through, right? You ever have some food so good you just want to dance? That's how I feel right now. Thank y'all for watching me eat and hanging in here until I can finish my food, and then we can talk about autism. Signs that you may have autism. You eat the same thing every day. Every day. I'm calling myself out here. I know I'm not the only person who stims while they eat. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, boys and girls on here. Look through the comments. Let's bring in our boys and girls from the other places. Let's bring in everybody. All right. What was our title here? Autism at work may look like, or how should I title it? 5 signs that you may have autism, work edition. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. 5 signs you may be autistic, work edition. Now keep in mind, guys, I've mentioned this before, but just because you do all these things, it doesn't mean that you have autism. But these are things that you see a lot in the community. But just because you do these things, it does not mean that you have it, alright? I just want to make that clear. I know I said it in an earlier live stream, and I'll say it again. Miss Piggy, thank you for trying to normalize autism. My nephew is severe nonverbal. Well, Miss Piggy, I appreciate you. I make content for people like your nephew, people like you, people like us. And I'm grateful for all of the attention that the content gets. And we're going on, what, 5 years of doing this now. We're still having fun. And they're reaching so many more people. So for me, my challenge is, how do I find different ways to say the same things? Because I've been saying the same thing for 5 years. I'm just finding new and exciting ways to say it, so that way it's fun for me. So it could be a skit, it could be a rap, it could be, you know, like the methods of how we put out the content has evolved over the years, but it is still extremely exciting. So like I said, it could be a video where I'm just talking like this, and I'm saying signs that you may have autism. Number 1, you wear the same thing every day. Number 2, you struggle to understand people. Whether I'm doing that, whether we're doing a skit out in public, at a game, those skits are fun, by the way. Or whether we're, you know, I'm doing like a Kojo and Dr. Kojo skit, because I do those too, where it's just me and me. Obviously you don't have the pretty actresses there, so maybe people don't like those as much, but or even putting the content into a rap. We have so many different ways of putting the information out, but we are saying the same thing in different ways, and we're reaching a lot of people, and it's pretty cool. Alright, so this is 5 signs that you may be autistic, work edition. Let's go ahead and officially start. Let's talk to him. Let's talk to him. This is a special Saturday night live stream. Another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. The borders are not there, so it's not saying that, but this is what it is. Alright? We're talking about 5 signs that you may be autistic. This is work edition, so obviously you have to have some type of employment or be doing something or have had a job before. And when you were employed, you did some of these things. Alright? So if you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, my name is Dr. Kojo. I'm your Hollywood mental health expert. I use social media in the form of skits, videos, songs, raps, whatever I can find my hands to do to promote mental health awareness. I am a part of the Neurodivergent community, and I have a large Neurodivergent community. I'd say we're the largest Neurodivergent personal brand in the world. And over here, we have a very supportive community. We accept every single person. We have Republicans and Democrats kissing in the comment section. So regardless of what you believe or how you identify, this is a safe space for all. Alright, so now that I've introduced myself, some of y'all may have already known who I am. Go ahead and use the comment section to let me know what your name is, where you're checking in from, so we can really get to know each other, and then we'll talk about 5 signs of autism work edition. Alright. Jessica, what's going on? And I do read the comments from time to time, and I see a lot of people are struggling and going through a lot of different things. So Lance, I'm pulling for you. Just know that asking for help is a sign of strength. We all struggle, just not all of us ask for help. So I think that's why some of us do better than others. So however best you can get some help, man. You gotta keep going, And Amy says, the skits you do are so validating and have become a useful tool in my relationship. Thank you. Amy, I have so much fun doing these skits. It's so much, it's a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of work, and it is an expensive undertaking. It's not cheap, those sporting events, right? You're gonna spend hundreds of dollars every time you go to one. We spend hours recording all day. I mean, for me personally, social media is harder than psychiatry. Not that psychiatry is easy, but social media is harder. Making videos, keeping up with that. I've been doing this for 5 years. It gets to be quite labor intensive. But the comments that people put on the videos, and the fact that people can relate to the videos, make me really enjoy what I do. So these skits are not going anywhere. And I appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much. We have India from North Carolina. So her name is India, but she's from North Carolina. Okay, gotcha. Fatima from New Jersey. Amy is from Breckenridge, Colorado. That's a very pretty area, I've heard. I haven't been there. The Berg. Shout out to the Berg. Suzanne from Kansas. Amber in Memphis. Prince asked Prince, this is a good question. Prince, and maybe this is potentially its own live stream. What are best career fields for someone with autism or ADHD? Prince, could have asked a question. That'll have to be its own live stream, but I can just tell you that if you have ADHD and or autism, you will need to have some level of autonomy at your job. If you have some control over your time, if you have some say on what you do every single day, that goes a long way. And a lot of neurodivergents really have to work for themselves. So if you feel like you can't work for other people and you're autistic, it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It just means that you're probably having an expected reaction to your environment. You know, it gets loud at work. It gets cold at work. You know, you have to have, you know, the ability to have small talk, and not everybody can do it. Not everybody can do it. Jamie from Oklahoma, how are you? Susie from South Carolina. Susie says, I now work alone and love it. Guys, autonomy is important. It's important, and a lot of neurodivergents cannot work for other people. In fact, I mean, this could be a bonus sign that you could be neurodivergent. I have an old acting teacher, my first acting teacher in LA, and he would always tell us about these, you know, acting roles he had in the early 2000s, and he booked this job, I booked this job, and then eventually, you know, in LA, the way things go, you know, you'll do like a big role or a big movie, you'll get a chunk of money, and then you'll have a chance to start a business. And he decided to teach acting students, and then, you know, I was in his class. He said that he cannot work for other people, and that teaching students is his passion. And the more I would hear him talk, I just kept thinking to myself, man, my acting teacher, he's got to be autistic. Now, I wasn't diagnosing him, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I know my teacher is autistic, because he's really good at doing the same thing over and over, right? He's an acting teacher. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to acting. The things that I learned from him in acting class, when applied, it led to me having more views on social media. It led to me being on Netflix. So I'm like, man, this guy's really good at. He's good. He knows the industry, but he said that he cannot work for other people. He doesn't like being around other people, but he likes doing his own thing. And when I hear that, I'm like, yep. That sounds very neurodivergent-y. Like it sounds like he's one of us. We got Haley checking in from Arkansas. Haley, good to see you. Susie says entrepreneurship. And if you have ADHD, I think you're much more likely. I don't know the stats. I think it's 300% more likely. I think 300% more likely. But if you have ADHD, you're much more likely to be an entrepreneur. And I love the entrepreneurial spirit. Look, I got 2 businesses. SAR for Psychiatry and SAR for Entertainment. So I know all about having a dream and being an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. At the same time, when you have ADHD and you're neurodivergent, you can have a hard time regulating your mood and your attention, and that can further complicate entrepreneurship. So you're set up to do your own thing, but your emotions can be your worst enemy. So you just have to understand yourself at a deep and granular level. Jamie says, I'm a nurse and I love it. I get bored after several years in specialty, but there are so many I can keep changing, and each day is different. So if we're talking about careers that are neurodivergent friendly, nursing is going to be quite close to the top of the list. And I know I'm going a little bit off topic, right? It's 5 signs that you may have autism, work edition. We're still talking about that, but I'm biased because nursing changed my life, and it gave me a chance to go from a desperate student who was failing to somebody who could finally put some money in his pocket. And the thing about getting money is it reveals who you are. It lets you be more of who you always wanted to be. Not that I was like a bad person or anything like that, but nursing just gave me autonomy. It gave me freedom. It gave me the opportunity to believe and dream. I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy, but I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know that I could even talk in front of people. But became a nurse, started to make some money, started to feel more confident. I started to teach nursing students, and then I would take the nursing students to a psychiatric hospital. It'd be 8 of us at a time, and I would develop my public speaking skills. And I'm like, I can do comedy. And then they let the content creation, so on and so forth. So careers that allow you to be autonomous and that allow you to switch from different departments are generally very neurodivergent friendly. And AJPC says, where can we find you on Netflix? Okay. This is not a live stream where I'm talking about all the cool things I've done in general, but if you go to Everybody's in LA with John Mulaney, it was a Netflix special that was released last year. I'm there. I think I'm in 2 episodes. We recorded in one day. John Mulaney was super kind and just down to earth. Somebody he's made it in the industry as far as comedy and acting. So it's always great when legends collide. So hopefully y'all like that Dr. Kojo and John Mulaney collaboration on Netflix. So check it out. It's called Everybody's in LA. And it meant a lot to me to finally get on Netflix, because before I was, I'm not gonna lie, when you're in LA, Netflix is like, I gotta get on Netflix. So that's how I was, but I finally got on Netflix. I got paid. I bought something for my mom, and then life went on. So shout out to John Mulaney. I really appreciate him for that opportunity. All right, now let's get into the list that I have here for y'all today. All right, if you're on TikTok, the Service Plus button is there. You can drop your I know I can pin it somewhere in here. How do I pin this thing? Service Plus. And I'm still getting better with the whole Service Plus thing, alright? I do these coaching calls with TikTok and they lay it out for me step by step. But I'm not the best at following instructions or directions. So it might take some time for me to figure out how it really works, alright? Yeah, Bayou Barbie, yeah, I mean, who else am I gonna, there's nothing that I need. I just bought something for my mom, you know. I may have done something, you know, for the lady I was seeing at the time, but, you know, my mom, you know, you gotta look after mom. I love my mom. Barry, what's going on? What's going on? Molly says, I miss making and selling things. When it comes to neurodivergence and employment, I got so many thoughts. So many thoughts. Alright, so let's get into it. Juliana, I appreciate you. Julia from Texas. Jessica from Florida. Fatima from New Jersey. Okay, so we have an international audience. And Bayou Barbie is, I'm assuming that's New Orleans, right? Where else would you say Bayou, you know, in your name if you're not from New Orleans? Anyway, all right. 5 signs that you could be autistic, work edition. All right. So number 1, literal thinking. All right. So if you're autistic in the workplace, this is something that you may struggle with. Literal thinking. Literal thinking. We have phrases that don't quite make sense, but we say them because everybody's supposed to know what they mean. It's raining cats and dogs. Your boss will send out an email and say, thank you for this report. You did a really good job. We're going to review the results later. Let's touch base later. And they're like, damn, like, let's touch base later? What you mean by let's touch base later? Third base, second base, first base? What you mean? Let's touch base later. If you're autistic, you could really struggle interpreting things like that. Let's touch base later. Now, your boss could have said, let's circle back. But even then, circle back is like, what do you mean, draw a circle? Not everybody will say things like, the report was good. Let's review it again tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. This is just how we talk, right? Let's touch base later. You know, let's touch base later. But you're sitting there and you're confused because you don't know if it's first base or second base or third base. And even though this is something that you can struggle with at work, I mean, you see these impairments outside of the workplace. So you're talking to friends, or you know, your friends are talking amongst themselves and they're talking about flirting. And one of the guys is like, oh yeah, I just met Amanda and you know, we went on our second date. I got to third base. You know, and you're like, damn, like, does Jake play baseball with Amanda? Why is he on third base? Like, you don't get you don't understand it. He's trying to say that, you know, third base means what? What is third base in dating terms? French kissing. You know, we have all these terms and nobody's gonna interpret them for you or help you understand what they mean. So literal thinking can complicate things, right? Communication. There's a direct correlation between how well you do in life and your ability to communicate. And that's at the core of why autism is so difficult to live with, because it impacts how you communicate with others and how you experience the world. So we can laugh about it like, oh, did they get to third base? Did they get to second base? Or, you know, like we laugh about these things because we generally know what these things mean. But when you come across something that you don't know what it means, it is frustrating because you have no idea. Like you don't know what that thing means, but you're expected to know. Very frustrating. I love chicken. Exactly. People expect you to already know what it means. So you probably have to watch, you know, a fair amount of TV or keep up with, memes, or I mean, if you live in the United States of America, over time you get better at idioms because you have situations where you just didn't get it right, and you're like, damn, okay, all right, that's embarrassing. So when they say let's touch base, that means that they want to meet up with me again, and it doesn't mean that they want to ask me out on the first date. Because you can get confused. You might think that your boss is trying to hit on you, and you're like, oh no, this is not professional, you know. My boss is autistic male, very black and white thinking. And look, even the phrase black and white thinking, for somebody who takes things literally, they could be like, black and white thinking? So is this how black people think? Or is this how white people think? You know? Or is my autism showing? What do y'all think about that? Third base is petting. Heck nah. Ain't nobody, step up to the plate to pet. Heck nah. Is your girlfriend autistic? Do you just entertain? Which girlfriend? We're gonna have fun today on this live stream. Joseph from Portland, I appreciate you. Bayou Barbie says, I just study literal phrases that illicit people use and memorize them. And that's normally what you have to do, because you put it into your mental Rolodex so that way you're not embarrassed the next time. I get in trouble because I don't do small talk, and I just go straight to what I'm asking. Yeah, and that's something that Kate says here on TikTok. In addition to the literal thinking that you could struggle with at work, small talk is, how do I say it? Annoying, yes. But unfortunately, in the neurotypical world, it's somewhat required, right? You're not able to just go straight into what you want from somebody. You gotta ask them about the weather, and you have to ask them about their weekend, and you have to ask them about how their dog is doing, and if their dog peed that morning, and then after about 45 seconds to a minute and a half, then you can go into your ask naturally. These are weird social rules that if you don't like small talk, it's gonna be hard for you to not get burnt out at the workplace. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be stressed. That leads me to my second point. All right, so signs that you may be autistic, work edition. Number 2, masking fatigue. All right, so I'm sure this experience is not unique to only autistic or neurodivergent people, but a lot of us can relate. So that feeling you get between 2 and 3 p.m. or for some people it's between 4 and 5 p.m. or 5 and 6, just depending on how much energy your social battery has. That feeling that you get when you realize that you're out of energy and that you have to get away from people as soon as possible, and that anything you say to people can and probably will be used against you. So to just be quiet because you ran out of energy. This is what happens when you're on E, right? You have fatigue from masking. And this is coming from all that small talk. Because you've memorized how to go about the small talks, you know what the bases mean, you know what all these different terms mean. You know how to, ingratiate yourself with other people and do what you need to do to not stand out in a bad way at work or at school, right? But at some point, because it's not you naturally, you're gonna run out of energy. So that's why you go home and you're drained, and you have mood swings, and you realize that it's just better to stay to yourself and not talk to people when your social battery is draining. It's tough. Buddy, I'm weak. Bye, Barbie. Oh no, I do have an old lady. Just depending on whoever is in here, I like to joke with y'all because I can tell y'all don't understand or no. I do have a YouTube channel, so we need to add the YouTube channel to add my YouTube channel to my Stan store link. I need to do that. But yeah, we have a YouTube channel. We're pretty big, over 200 and something thousand followers. I'd say that's pretty big. Let me put this heat off because I'm getting hot in here. Alright, y'all can probably hear me better too. Alright. The witching hour. Yeah. Start to have them awful mood swings. It gets hard. It get hard. It ain't easy now. It ain't easy. It is not easy. Miss Lauren from Alaska, how are you? Teresa says, whenever I transition from small talk, I say, anyway, people seem put off. And look, this is advice for everybody, regardless of whether you're on the spectrum or not. There's going to be times when you say things that are not offensive. I'm not talking about you cussing out people or screaming at people, but there will be times that you say things in a calm and concise way, and you're just direct, and you're very respectful about it, and people will still have an issue. So I say that to say, don't be worried when people are put off by what you say. Sometimes you have to look at the context, and it's not like a one-size-fits-all type of thing, but you can't please everybody, is what I'm trying to say. As long as you have a good intention, whatever wasn't the best about that situation, you just do better the next time around. Can't be too hard on yourself, all right? Can't be too hard on yourself. Let me see. All right, so number 3, routine dependence, all right? If you're somebody and you're autistic at the workplace, you're going to want to do things a certain way. Now, routine is a good thing. We need to have routine. And I call this the autistic advantage. Because if you're on the spectrum, your need for consistency and routine and sameness in some areas of your life can be detrimental. But at the workplace or with personal goals, this is going to help you out a lot. Because we all know that the key to getting in shape is eating right and working out every day or 5-6 days out of the week. But how many of us work out 5 to 6 times a week and eat right and don't eat the things that can make us put on a lot of weight? We know this, but there's a difference between knowing and doing. And that's really what you can boil wisdom down to, is applied knowledge. But even sometimes when you're really wise, it can be hard to do things in a certain regimented way. So if you're autistic and this is your default to do things in a certain way, it will help you out in certain areas of your life that other people struggle with. So I do think that is the autistic advantage. Now, when you're at work and you have, a need to go off of a certain routine, but the boss comes in and they say, okay, today we're changing things around. We're going to do things like this, and we're going to have meetings every day at 11 o'clock. I need you to come to work a half hour earlier. You can get off a half hour earlier, but we're changing things around. That can really mess with you because you need to do things every single way. You've built up a system that you're familiar with. You're able to predict. It makes you feel good. But now, because you don't know your left and your right, and your nervous system has been shaken by the fact that you can't predict what's next, because you have to switch up your whole everything because your boss came in and gave new orders. That can really mess with you. And this is one of the reasons why I say neurodivergent folks tend to break away and do their own thing at some point. Because if you don't have to answer to somebody, now if you don't have a routine, you can really fall by the wayside. But if you have a locked in way of doing things and you don't like being at the mercy of random switches, that's really a shock to your nervous system, having to go about things differently. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I've hit a block. I may be hard on myself. I feel like I should be working harder. All right, guys, so a lot of the problems that we have in life can be fixed, if not made better, by how we frame things. So when you feel like you have to work harder, you have to ask yourself, like, where is that coming from? Where's that coming from? Generally speaking, if you do things consistently every single day and you follow a routine, you will be successful. And that's why, once again, I say that is the autistic advantage. The need for routine, the need for sameness is a very, very unique advantage. And I reframe it as an advantage because I think that autism in general does make your life harder. So I don't want to go around saying, when you're autistic, you're gonna have like an easy life because you know how to do things with a pattern and you're able to follow. No, in general, when you have autism, life is gonna be a little harder for you. That's the truth. Because over here, we keep it a buck. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, this is family. So if you're autistic, yes, life will be a bit harder for you. Dating will be a bit harder for you. Finding employment and keeping employment will be harder for you. Enjoying public events will probably be harder for you. Making friends, retaining friends, man, that's a big problem right there. That probably will be harder for you. It doesn't mean that you can't live the life that you want, because you can. It'll just take a system, and it'll take you receiving some type of external support. All right, and we all need support in some capacity, but when you're neurodivergent, you need external support in order to survive, number one, and then thrive. So we got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it a buck. Janine starts a new job, scared because they want her to work different shifts. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of bosses think about their employees' mental health. Okay, if I'm being honest. At the same time, I don't think a lot of bosses are equipped to deal with different personalities, different sensitivities people have. The fact that some people could be neurodivergent, because it's a very normal thing for a boss to say, "Hey, I need you to work night shift next week." And you've been working day shift up, the whole time you've been employed. Like, that's just what makes life easy for the company. Yeah, we need you to switch from days to nights, but you switching from days to nights, I mean, it's throwing off your sleep. Your routine is completely altered. If your sleep is off and your routine is altered, it's going to be very difficult for you to regulate yourself. Now you go into the workplace and you have a hard time communicating and you're low on sleep, and then you snap, and then somebody says something to you that's offensive that they shouldn't have said anyway, but you take the bait, and then now turns into a verbal war of words, and you say something that you didn't mean to say, but you said it because you're feeling emotional. Then they report you to HR, then you get fired, and all this happened because you were asked to switch from day shift to night shift. That's how the cycle could go. And you're at the mercy of the boss who wants you to either work days or nights. But in the specific example of Janine, I hope that they give you a somewhat normal, regulated schedule. Brooke says, "I don't think they really care a lot of places." I agree. Some places don't. Haley says, "Might get fired for absences. Might put my 2 weeks in, so they have to keep me." Haley, I like how you're able to compensate with that. Okay. So to recap, for those of y'all who may have joined the live stream a little bit late, we're talking about what autism at work can look like. So these are 5 signs that you could be autistic. Work edition. Number 1 was you struggle with literal thinking. Number 2 is masking fatigue. Number 3 is you're overly dependent on a routine. And number 4 is communication differences. All right. So this is similar to literal thinking, but when you communicate differently from other people, like I said, until you know how other people communicate, and you build up the energy to adjust, to make those game time adjustments in real time, you're going to really suffer in this category. Because you're not able to get things done. You can't solve as many problems because you're saying one thing and they're saying a whole different thing. We're not really on the same page. You could take things personally. What are we actually talking about here? Communication is so huge, and it's not even all verbal. The majority of communication is nonverbal. So when you have communication differences, this means that if you're upset about something that maybe everybody's upset about, but socially speaking, we have to keep it PG. We have to keep our face a certain way, and we have to smile and just nod our head like this, right? If that is what's expected of you, and you're at a work meeting, and the bad news is delivered, and everybody's upset, but people know, okay, yeah, I don't like the fact that I have to work night shift next week and then go back to days, but we'll just smile and we'll just kind of keep it pushing. But if you communicate differently, and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and people can actually see that you're upset and you're fuming, and because everybody's pissed, but you're the one that's showing it on your face, right? Because now you've communicated to your boss, to your superiors, that I don't like the changes that y'all are making, and it really upsets me. And that's a normal feeling. Everybody who was in the meeting felt that way, but you weren't able to keep it together. Like, your face communicated what was in your heart. And sometimes in life, you have to have a poker face. Nobody teaches you these social skills. There should really be a class. Think about it. There should be a class somewhere between 3rd and 4th grade. In that age range where they teach you these social skills. Like, you gotta have a poker face at times just to, advance socially. You can't show what you're thinking, even though everybody's thinking it, right? But these communication differences can make life difficult for you. And in this instance, you didn't say a word, but everybody knows how you're feeling because they can read it on your face. They can read it on your face. Tough. Looking at the comment section, Molly says, I'm blunt or I'm quiet. And there's a time to be blunt, and then there's a time to not say a thing at all, right? And knowing how to navigate that is important. Because if you're at work and the company has certain expectations and standards, and there's a way that things are done, sometimes it's best to just bite your tongue, even though you're right. And that's one of the tough things about life. You can be right and still be wrong. If you're neurodivergent, you know exactly what I mean by that. I don't have to elaborate on that. You know what I'm talking about. You can be right, but you're still wrong, right? Or you can be right and you're not wrong, but what good is it that you're right? Tough. Tough, tough, tough. From Ghana, West Africa. That's my hood. Tough, tough, tough. Alright, so that was number 4. Let's go into number 5. Number 5. Signs that you may be autistic. Work edition. Sensory overload. Emphasis on the overload part. Alright? And this is why a lot of neurodivergent people, even if you're working amongst others, it can be helpful to have a job that allows you to have multiple breaks, or a job that lets you catch your breath when you need to catch your breath. A job where you're not penalized for just stepping out real quick. Because if you work in a shared space, oh my goodness, let's not get started about shared spaces. I'm getting frustrated thinking about it. But if you work in one of those cubicles where it's like 4 or 5 people to one, and you have to work 8 hours a day there, and you can hear somebody chewing, you can hear somebody over there farting, you can hear somebody over there on the phone laughing, The person to the left of you is playing solitaire. If you'll have chances to just get out of your environment, that could really mess with you. And sensory overload could happen before noon. You still got 4 or 5 hours left to be at work, but you might have a meltdown. And some of these things contribute to, why some people can't retain employment, because it gets harder and harder and harder to expose yourself to that and not have a physical reaction to it. Sensory overload. It's not easy. Simply on TikTok says, yes, people hate when I speak up. Sensory overload, guys. Sensory overload. And this is the inspiration for the skits that we do. So there's a certain skit style that I do quite often. I know y'all are familiar with it if you keep up my content. But you have the skit where I go into the... We've been doing it at sporting events recently, right? So we go to this big game, right? Rams are playing somebody. LA Rams versus the Steelers or the Colts, all right? And I'm there, me and my lady, and we've come to this event, all right? And on date nights, when something goes wrong, y'all know how it is when you're dating somebody. When something goes wrong, you're like, oh man, like this was our one night out of the week to spend with our person. We don't want date night to go wrong, right? So it's date night, you're out at the game, you're trying to have a good time, right? One person probably is having a good time, and the other person is struggling because it is a great environment. It is a lively atmosphere, but that person didn't know how loud it was going to be at the game. They didn't know that when you go to the game, sometimes when a touchdown is scored or when a home run is hit, fireworks go off. That can startle you. That can be very upsetting. It can be distressing. These are things that you have to account for. And the whole premise behind that skit is that if you're going to go out to an event where you spend hundreds of dollars and you want to have a good time with your neurodivergent partner, it can be helpful to have, earbuds, headphones, something to keep, you and your partner calm and regulated. And maybe if you enjoy football so much, you can be in the loudest environment, so you'll be okay. That's how I am. But you can still experience these things and have sensory sensitivities at the workplace. The difference between the skit that I'm running over and over at Paramount in Hollywood or at the Rams game or at the Dodgers game is that that's date night. That's you and your girl, or you and your guy, you and your person voluntarily choosing to go to these places and y'all are having fun. But if it gets really bad, y'all can leave the game. All you lose is, okay, we spent $800 for these tickets and they're really good, but all right, cool. This next time we won't sit as close, or we'll be better prepared next time, right? Now, when you're experiencing sensory overload at the workplace, you can't just leave. You can't just clock out. I mean, you can clock out, but then you're losing your job. Now you can't take your girl to the game. Now you can't take your kids out to the park. So because of the nature of, the work and where you're at, you gotta sit there, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. You have to take it. Or at least that's what you think. And I think jobs are getting better nowadays at, understanding that people have needs and, providing you with accommodations. And I do think that for those who are pursuing an autism diagnosis, one of the reasons why I think it's helpful to get an actual diagnosis, outside of the fact that you're going to understand yourself better, you're going to have more empathy for yourself, it will make you feel better about communicating with other people because you'll understand you at a deep and granular level. But even outside of that, just having the actual diagnosis, it qualifies you for so much. You can actually go to work and potentially have accommodations. You can go to school and have accommodations. You can have more time in a test. And these are things that you need. It's not a silly one like, oh, I need a environment that's not too brightly lit. Like, no, you need these things, because without these things, you shut down. without these things, it's that much harder to communicate. And communication was already a struggle from the jump. You see how we connect the dots? You see how... Do y'all see how I'm doing this? Y'all see what we're doing here? This is pretty important work. It's pretty important work. And people will ask me, I'll never stop getting that question. Do I really need to get diagnosed? Blah, blah. Hey, it's up to you. I'm not telling you, you can do what you want. And you're still permitted to come back on this live stream. Come back tomorrow, I'll still be here for you. So I'm not pushing you to go get an assessment or an evaluation. I'm just saying that it can help you understand yourself a lot better. And not all problems in life have to be fixed. And I'm not saying that autism is a problem. It's a challenge. Not necessarily a problem, but not all things in life have to be fixed. Just being mindful of something makes you feel better. So I've had patients who I've diagnosed them and, whatever, autism, ADHD, whatever. You give them medications and say, come back in 2 weeks, come back in a month. But before they even come back, they feel good right there and then in the chair, because now they know themselves much better. And this is why we do what we do. This is why we do the magic. It's important. Zilla says, I'm fine to be diagnosed as an adult after my toddler was diagnosed. A lot of parents, especially women, but fathers too, but a lot of parents are being diagnosed after their kid gets the diagnosis. And I think it's quite remarkable that a lot of people have made it to 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, and beyond without a diagnosis and without understanding themselves. And for those people who are diagnosed later in life, even without the diagnosis, that I don't want to say something was off, but that you were different. And you couldn't quite put a finger on it. You didn't have the vocabulary to articulate what was going on, but you knew something was different. Not bad or good, but you knew something was different. And you found ways to accommodate. And you made it to where you had a child, and your child's having a couple more issues in school than you had. And they tell your child to go get an assessment. And then as you're answering some of the questions for your child, you're asking yourself those questions subconsciously. And you're like, damn. I need to get this assessment. And Zilla says, I knew. I struggled so hard and didn't want my son to. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about having kids. Sometimes the kids are the pipeline to you understanding yourself at a much better level. And you know how hard it was to go through life without this understanding of yourself. And because you couldn't articulate the fact that you had some type of undiagnosed neurodivergence. That wasn't even a word back then, right? Growing up in the 90s, they just called you slow. You're just slow. There's a section for slow kids, and you have other kids. The other kids could be somewhat slow, but you have kids who are they're slow. And I was in special ed too, so I was with the slow kids. I know. I was there. But you have this child who is exhibiting the things that you had as a kid, and you're like, I'm not feeling like this kid struggled the same way I struggled. Nope. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. We're not gonna do that. And what places would you recommend to contact? So Zilla, this is actually a big problem. I don't is this dependent on where you live? In the United States of America, that's how things are with medical practice. You have to have a license in a certain state to help out people in that state. So you have to, do a search and look for people in your area. Of course, with software psychiatry, we do psychiatric evaluations, screening for autism. Next year, we're going to start the autism assessments. So we will actually do autism assessments starting next year, early next year, actually. And what an autism assessment will look like, while we're on the topic of it, it will look like you coming in. It's virtual, right? But this is only for people in select states. That's why I'm saying if you're not in Alaska, Arizona, Washington, or California, then like I say, do a like a local search. But if you are in one of those states, hit the Service Plus button, drop an email. We'll send you a link and you get some more information on our services and coaching. And we have mental health coaching too, which is for anybody in any place of the world, but that doesn't come with a diagnosis. But at least for us, when we do the autism evaluations, it's going to look like this. It's a 3-part thing. So you have the first appointment, which is a psychiatric evaluation. And this is very important because the psychiatric evaluation tells you what mental health conditions you have. Just like with autism, you have to do some more testing. But every psychiatric evaluation should come with standard screening for autism. It doesn't. Why? I don't know. I don't know how people do things, right? But at least for software psychiatry, every psychiatric evaluation does come with autism screening. And the screening, what that does is it'll let you know whether it's recommended that you seek an official autism evaluation, right? So it's a 3-part thing for autism. The first one is a psychiatric evaluation, and after doing this, you should have a better idea on if you have ADHD, depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, schizoaffective. The evaluation, that probably is the most important part. I hate to say it. One thing is more important than the other, but that's probably the most important part, to me. The psychiatric evaluation, right? That lets you know what you have and whether you should be screened for autism. And if it's recommended that you get, assessed for autism. If it's recommended that you get assessed for autism, then it's going to be 2 more appointments. The next one is like a 90-minute appointment where we go through and we actually, we'll talk about how you were as a kid, some of your favorite interests, how you interact with others. Autism for real, right? That's so you know if you actually have autism. Did the connection go out? Can y'all still see me? This is my camera. It's bugging. Okay, it went out for a little bit. But yeah, so at least the way I do it is a 3-part. It's a 3-part thing. But the psychiatric evaluation is it's so important. I can't understate that. It's hella important. It's hella important. It's hella important. Okay, all right, I came back. We're already set up in Arizona. How do you add an email for the assessment? Service Plus, see, pen notice. All right, guys, I'm an unk, so give me some time as I learn today's technology. I gotta start having kids so they can help me with these phones. All right, how does Service Plus work? I thought I pinned a notice on there, but with the Service Plus button, you should be able to leave your email, and then we'll send you the link, or you can just navigate your way to my profile. Click the link in there. That'll work as well. But I'm still learning how to do this. But we're already set up in Arizona for psychiatric evaluations. So that's like a psychiatric evaluation. It screens you for everything: depression, ADHD, autism, all that stuff. So the autism screening, at least for me, it gives me a pretty good idea on if somebody is actually autistic or not. That screening within a psychiatric evaluation gives me a pretty good idea. And then, for the official assessment is 2 more appointments to kind of confirm what we suspect. But also the reason why before you can get to the assessment, in my opinion, you have to do the evaluation, because the evaluation will let you know the full picture. Because some people, some folks don't just have autism, right? It normally comes with, it's brothers and sisters, like anxiety and depression. That's the brothers and sisters to autism. Same thing with ADHD. Normally comes with a little bit of anxiety and the depression, and then you have the CPTSD, which is almost always there. So you have to check for the brothers and sisters and the cousins, right? Bipolar is a cousin to autism and ADHD. Sometimes you see people who have autism and bipolar disorder. So you have to see the full clinical picture. So yes, autism assessments are important, but you need to have the full clinical picture. So if you go through the full assessment, which includes the psychiatric evaluation, then you would know exactly what you have, or have as clear of a clinical picture of the things that you have, and then from there, the game plan, the treatment is really easy. The hardest part is really getting the right diagnosis, because if you have good diagnosis, then treatment is extremely easy. This stuff is not difficult, but the misdiagnoses that's what's messing up people today, right? You go on, you think you have autism or ADHD, and let's say your actual diagnosis is autism and ADHD, right? And then they diagnose you with bipolar, okay? Now you could get better, but it'd be through luck. But you got the wrong diagnosis, so the treatment's gonna be different. Or the one that you normally see is where people go in and they get diagnosed with depression when they actually have bipolar disorder. That's the one that I see all the damn time. And then you get medication that pushes you into a hypomanic episode, and you spend almost all your money, you max your credit cards, you get into situationships and relationships that you didn't want to get into, the voices come back again, your sleep goes out of whack, and then when you go back to the doctor, they're like, oh, my bad, my fault, twin, I didn't get the full picture, yeah, I think we need to reevaluate you, yeah. But it doesn't even work like that, because for bipolar disorder, it takes people on average like 10 to 15 years to get the right diagnosis. So I wish it was like you go in, you get the wrong diagnosis, you do worse, and you go back and you get better because you get the right diagnosis. But it's not really that linear. So it's, like I'm throwing up gang signs here, but it takes a while to get the right diagnosis. But if you're stuck in life, a big reason why people are stuck is because they're misdiagnosed or undiagnosed. And you're out here just raw dogging everything. We should not be out here raw dogging anything, actually. Make sure you strap up, wear some protection. But raw dogging mental illness is, especially in 2025, guys, it's hard out here. It's hard out here. And Tattoo Psychologist says, thank you, made my personal life and professional life much easier. And y'all know this all the time because I've mentioned this story a million times, but getting the right diagnosis for ADHD and then getting the treatment, that's a big part of why I am who I am with my platform today. I couldn't have imagined this in my wildest dreams, because I couldn't do an assignment. Like, I got burnt out in school. I couldn't do this. Like, I was burnt. So to see where I am today, I knew that would not have been possible if I didn't get help. I needed it. Thank you for ordering the book. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I definitely feel like I'm autistic. How do I know? Well, I mean, a lot of people who think that they are actually end up being autistic, but you gotta get the evaluation. Happened to me because I have ADHD and bipolar diagnoses, and I had manic episodes due to the ADHD meds as a teen. Oh, so that's another one that you see a lot too. ADHD and bipolar. Which, guys, that is not as difficult to treat as people think it is. Right? So if you have ADHD and bipolar, or autism and bipolar, you have to treat the bipolar first. There's an order in which you have to go about this stuff. If you treat the bipolar first and sleep and appetite are regulated, then we can go after the focus. You can't do things the wrong way and expect the right result. Well, actually, you can expect the right result, but that don't mean that you're going to get better. Oh, yeah. Stay strapped and protected. The STD rates are too high out here. Too high out here, yeah. I mean, it's scary to raw dog. It's very scary to raw dog. But I mean, there's people right now raw dogging as we speak. There are people right now raw dogging and laughing and enjoying life, and we'll let them enjoy. Jordan says, love your content, been very helpful. Was diagnosed at 34. Couldn't agree more on the huge impact on both personal and professional. Jordan, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. I mean, like, that's how you skyrocket. Molly says, raw dogging. I say that and I see, yeah, I know. Be careful with the raw dog, right? Whether it's another person or a mental illness, be careful with the raw dog, all right? I don't know why y'all just let me get away with this. This is crazy. I had some more things I wanted to say, but there's some kids who watch us here. Those comments, I get DMs from kids who are like, oh, from parents who will say, oh, my child showed me your content live stream. I'm like, oh, cool. So I know the kids watch. So if you're a kid, you shouldn't be raw dogging anyway. You feel me? I went undiagnosed for 36 years. Guys, think about the life decisions that you'll make by the time you're 36. Just think about that for a second. A 36-year-old woman, what life decisions has she made, before her 37th birthday? Think about it. And don't let her be from the South. Because in the South, if you're not married by the time you're 23, I'll give you 24. If you're not married by the time you're 24 in the South, you're finished. You're done. You gotta leave Alabama. You gotta leave Carolina. You're done. It's awful. It's awful. Now in California, you'll be okay. You'll be a young, aspiring writer, a young creative, a young creative woman who's 33. That's normal. But in the South, no, they expect you to have 4 kids by the time you're 30. Have a side business by the time you're 32. Have a house by 35. Right? But even if you take up all these expectations, a 36-year-old woman has made big-time life decisions. All right? And if you made those decisions without understanding who you are, then how are you sure that what you have or the decisions that you made is what you actually wanted to do? You didn't understand yourself at a fundamental level, but you made these decisions because, that's this information you had, right? So the sooner you can get diagnosis, the better. It's important. It's important. Yeah, look, don't go to the South if you're unmarried and under 35. Don't go to the South now. And look, all right. 36 is not old, all right? 36 is not old as a woman. We just call women old lady. So when you hear the word old from somebody in the South, like, old doesn't mean old. It means OL, all right? But in terms of societal expectations, in terms of when you should be married, yes, in the South, if you're not married by 24, you're considered an outcast. Just ask anybody from the South. I'm on the West Coast now, but ask anybody from Tennessee. They'll tell you I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And Zilla said, my partner snatched me up at 23. Oh, so see, he's from the South. This is just verifying what I'm saying. He's from the South. He's from the South. Somebody says, any tips for avoiding small talk at the workplace? My best tip for avoiding small talk at the workplace is actually to play into it right off the bat and go into a different topic. Oh, the weather this weekend was great. Oh yeah, it was awesome. I got out on Saturday. Yeah, it was super cool. But I'm about to go send these emails real quick. Good seeing you. I acknowledge the small talk and then I get out. Because I don't want to talk about things that I don't want to talk about. I don't do anything I don't want to do. Or else it's gonna piss me off. I mean, I'm not the biggest small talk fan, but sometimes I have the battery for it. But if I don't have it, acknowledge it real quick, and then just get out. Quick, get out. Get out. Get out. Oh, yeah. And look, guys, the South is not... I mean, I love the South. Like, despite the ageism or racism, there's nothing like the South. I can't explain it. It's just a beautiful place to be. But that is a thing there, you know. So just, you gotta be mindful. Then Molly says she's moving to California. Well, come on out, Molly. Come on out. Theresa says, I'm coming to terms with an autism diagnosis at the age of 60. Yeah, guys, like, this is people's reality. Bella says, I'm in Tennessee and the South can kiss my ass. Bella, you know I love Tennessee. Come on now. I love Tennessee. I'm a Southern man technically. Oh, no, I'm most definitely from the South. Yes, I'm there's no shame in my game. Not everything about, you know, Southern culture is good, you know. Like, I know that. As a black guy, obviously I know that, but I mean, that's where I grew up and probably where I will raise my kids. And I guess, you know, I like it. I like it. Kate says, 34 and single. I'm rare. In the South, yes. Well, actually, no. I mean, there's single women in the South. And, you know, some women are, like, divorced and stuff like that. But that's just what society expects. And I would rather you never marry than to marry early because you want to impress, you know, Uncle Bill or whatever. You know, that's not even smart. That's not smart. Chris said, can you please say that again about having bipolar and ADHD? Yes, I'll repeat it. If you have bipolar disorder and ADHD, you treat the bipolar first. Okay? The bipolar is the more boisterous of the two conditions. Now, ADHD can ruin your life. Like, ADHD can ruin your life worse than a manic episode. So you can't disrespect it. But bipolar has a more direct and immediate effect on your sleep and your appetite, in my opinion. And we call those two things the neurovegetative signs of depression: sleep and appetite. So you would treat the bipolar first, and then you would treat the ADHD. So you can have somebody who, look, like if you have bipolar and ADHD and you take a stimulant for ADHD, you should never not also have a mood stabilizer. So I see a lot of people have, I mean, some people's meds are just not done correctly, and I'm not going to say more on that, but it's like sometimes they'll be like halfway done. Like if you have ADHD and bipolar, can you take a stimulant? Yes, you can. But my goodness, you better have a mood stabilizer. Or you better have... Alright, I'm just y'all's friend, so, you know, I'm not... You know, I got dinged for talking too much about meds one time on TikTok, so we'll leave it at that. But you better have somebody who knows what they're doing with medications. You know, and I know what I'm doing, you know, and there are other providers out there who know what they're doing, so I'm sure that, you know, your local provider can help you out. You know, so there are local providers, I want to believe that, you know, can get your meds straightened out, or they know what to do. You know, they just might not be as handsome as me. That's all. Samantha, congratulations! Wow, I've lost 240 pounds as of... Wow. Congratulations, Samantha's lost 240 pounds. Congrats. Congratulations. It's awesome. And guys, we've also crossed over into the Q&A section of the live stream. Let me say that. We have crossed over into the... I can't see my time here, but I'm sure we've got past the hour mark. Yeah, so we've crossed over into the Q&A section of the live stream. And refresh it right here. Okay, cool. What is the difference between bipolar 2 and cyclothymia? Oh, these are some good questions right here. What's the difference between bipolar 2 and cyclothymia? My doctor is saying I may have cyclothymia now. So cyclothymia is bipolar 3. You know, that's what we call it. And theoretically speaking, with cyclothymia, you have these mood episodes that don't quite get to the hypomanic state, and they don't quite get to major depressive disorder state. If you have a hypomanic episode, then it would be... Well, see, for bipolar 2, you need a hypomanic episode, then you also need a depressive episode. So it can be hard to tell between bipolar 2 and cyclothymia. It really can. Fortunately, the treatment is very, very similar, if not identical. You know, it's bipolar 1 versus those two that is more easily distinguishable. Because with bipolar 1, you would have a full-blown manic episode. And more times than not, that'll land you in the hospital, the psychiatric hospital. So then you know, you feel me? Because like you actually know. I followed you on Instagram for forever. You followed me on Instagram for forever? Forever? Well, I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll take every follow. I'm very serious about hitting 6 million followers next year, and we're going for 10. I want to get this community to be as big as possible, so we are going for 10. Thank you for your attention. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Would you say that a predominantly male work environment is more suitable for autistic people? Why would you say that? Like I want you to elaborate before I say what I think you're saying. Because my first thought is you're saying, I could be wrong. All right, this is my first thought. My first thought is I think you're saying that men are more direct, men are more cut and dry than women, so that could be helpful in the work environment. Men, less drama. Is that what you're going for? I just want to make sure that is what you were going for. $795-507. And while we're seeing if that person comments, I do want to take some time out to acknowledge the community of McEwen, Tennessee. It's pretty close to Nashville. You know, Nashville is my hometown. There's a disaster there. I think like 18 people lost their lives. A plant explosion. So, Miss Putt, see your comment, and I'm thinking about all of the greater Nashville area. I'm sorry that happened. You know, my thoughts and prayers have gone out to the whole community, and I see that you're going for your autism assessment on Tuesday. I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you pass that test. Let me see what 795. Also, all right, they never got back to. All right, cool. They never got back. But I am seeing comments saying that several male-only teams, quicker small talk. So, I mean, whatever floats your boat, right? Or finds your lost remote. But if you are autistic, male teams, in the sense that it could be more about the work, could be a good idea. But once again, we can't generalize, because I've known some guys who will gossip and you know, they'll I've known some guys that go all over the place and they're not getting work done. And I know some women that, you know, they come to work, they don't got, like, they're cut and dry, straightforward, you know, may even play a little fancy football too. So sometimes it's not always gender specific, but some generalizations do apply, you know. Oh yeah, Miss Putt, I grew up in Nashville. Yeah, I grew up in Nashville. And I just came back from Nashville, was it like a week ago? Yeah, a week ago. And I'm a big Titans fan, so you know, I love the Titans. I get emotional about the Titans, so Tennessee is always going to be a special place for me. I love Tennessee. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So 795 says, I experience often female coworkers make a problem. Okay. Okay. All right. Look, guys. This is somebody's experience. So this is a safe space. Let the person speak. I experience often female coworkers make a problem when you aren't social enough. Guys, I have also experienced this as well. And this is not an indictment on all women in the workplace. So don't take this comment and run with it. But I have experienced it. Does it mean it's true? No. Could be. But what I have done in those situations is there's an art that comes with saying a lot of stuff but not saying anything at all. So if somebody's asking me questions about, you know, my girlfriend, or like, oh, what does your girl do? Like, what interests does she have? Like, if they're asking like really invasive questions, I'll answer them, but I won't say a lot. So, yeah. My girl likes to wake up, and she likes to take a shower. Yeah, and she likes to eat, you know, and she likes to, you know, text on the, yeah. She texts on the phone, and yeah, she'll call. Yeah, cool. Yup, yeah. There's an art to giving a lot of information without saying anything. Once again, that can get draining. So I know that you may not want to, do all that. And once again, it's not gender specific. There are guys who operate just like that. So, number one, and I've experienced that too. Like, ma'am, I'm trying to work. Yeah, I mean, at least, look, for me, like, most of my stuff is online, so a lot of the stuff I say, I've said it online before. So people are like, oh my gosh, I really feel like I get to know you. I'm like, I already told my online community this. They already know me. They know me. And so some good questions that I forgot. Oh, bipolar 2, we don't have as much auditory hallucinations or hallucinations at all. Just delusions. Yeah. So with bipolar 2 and psychosis, normally psychosis is more so bipolar 1, but you can also experience psychosis within the context of a mood episode in depression, you know. So, or there could be some psychosis coming from something else, like even borderline personality disorder. Every now and then comes with psychosis. So, very, very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if I should go to therapy or a local GP to find if I have ADHD, autism. Like I said, do a search and look for who's available in your area. At least for my team and I, we do online assessments for people in 4 states. And also coaching and, mental health. We have a neurodivergent community as well, so all that information, you can get it by dropping your information in the Service Plus button or just navigating your way to my profile. My husband gets it. I have what I call a social battery. He gets drained quick. Right. And Samantha, I'm sure that, well, I can't assume, but I'm pretty sure that your husband understands when your social battery is low. And that's a big part of the skits that we do. That has to do with the social battery. And the first autism and relationship skit that we did, that one was done at Paramount Studios in Hollywood. And it was actually dark. The camera was decent enough to catch me. But she was actually ready to go. She was tired and she really wanted to go. And from that event, the very next event that we were headed to was my comedy show, 6 minutes, down the street in Hollywood. And she wanted to get to my comedy show. She didn't want to be at that event anymore. So when I was calling the Uber, that skit had like 15 million views because she was actually ready to go. Her social battery was actually at 0. And I also knew that she was ready to go. Right? So I called the Uber. I was actually, getting the Uber. And that's when she hugged me and she was like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of here. I gotta go. I'm gonna take you home, baby. I'm gonna take you home, baby. I'm gonna take you home. Cassie says, "Are you taking new patients?" In select states: Alaska, Arizona, Washington, and California. So those are the states where I could diagnose, and which means that I take it back. I have more state licenses. I have like 7 more, but I don't have a DEA. That's how you prescribe the controlled substances. So I'm set up really to see patients in 4 states, but we still do mental health coaching for people all across the world. Cassie, I see you're in Michigan. I think that's what MI means, MI dot. So for psychiatric evaluations and appointments, no, but for general mental health coaching and even just to join the neurodivergent community, yes. But maybe you'll move to Alaska one day, or maybe move to Washington. I'm in Washington now, and Washington's pretty nice. It's just pretty cold. Or maybe move to California. California is the best weather-wise, but it's a lot of traffic. It's a lot. Oh yeah, you're in Michigan. Tough. I'm already I like going out with my husband, not people. Okay, respect. Working from home is good. And look, I think work from home is good in general if you find ways to not get cabin fever. Because if you work from home all the time, you're like, damn, I gotta get out of this house. And I've definitely had cabin fever a lot. So, yeah. And it's tough because I'll see patients online, but when I see patients in person, it does help with the cabin fever because you get to talk to a real person. So, yeah, I think in-person stuff is better. I hate to admit that, but it is better. You just feel a little bit better. But online, like telehealth, telepsych, FaceTime, all that is just very convenient. Especially when you're always traveling, which I'm on the go a lot. So just knowing how to navigate, the space between being at home and also just getting out of the house. Sometimes you have to get out and just touch grass. You feel me? The grocery store is my breakup for cabin fever. And Cassie. Shout out to those Detroit Tigers. They tried their best. Don't want to rub it in, but they tried their best. Molly, best way to get the ADHD people without any autism to clean and organize things without redirecting them. Well, just because you have autism doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be cleaner or neater. It could be, but I think it's best to break things up into small tasks and not beat yourself up when you can't get things done. Because my to-do list is never, my to-do list will never end. I always have things to do. I always have a video to edit. I always have paperwork to look over. I always have videos to review and jokes to rewrite, and then video ideas to write, and I have to travel to places. I go through videos and look at what worked, what didn't work, what could have been made better. I analyze videos more than even y'all do, and y'all are pretty good at analyzing the videos. Y'all are pretty good, but I go back and I look at when the attention dropped off, what people are saying in the comments. How can I make that same video again, but how can I make it better? So I'm always busy, But I will say that the community catches things that I don't catch all the time. And in the last autism... Alright, y'all are crazy. In the last autism relationships video that was done at SoFi Stadium, is the Rams and Texans game, alright? And I'm walking... Oh my gosh. Alright. SoFi Stadium, Rams are playing the Texans. So I got my boy Roberto recording. He's a camera guy. Emily and I are walking into the stadium, right? We're walking to the stadium. She's overstimulated. And I ask if she wants to go into the game. I'm like, we got good seats right there. But if you want to go, I understand. I got the headphones. This should help. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to, just give it a shot? She said, oh, I'll give it a shot. I'm like, are you saying that just to make me happy? Or she's like, no, like, these headphones work, is cool, right? So she's no longer overstimulated. So we're walking into the stadium to go to our seats. As we're walking into the stadium, okay, there's a guy who walks past us. I didn't see this. And I review every video like 2-3 times before we post it. There's a guy who walks past us. I didn't catch this guy, but apparently, as I'm walking into the stadium with Emily, this guy turns around and he's looking at her ass. I mean, her butt. This kid's watching. My bad. I forgot where I was at. He looks at her butt, right? I didn't even see that in the video. But when I posted that video on TikTok, we have screenshots. Somebody from... Y'all are really good. Somebody screenshotted old buddy turn around like this. And they caught him in 4K. I didn't see it, but I thought that was the most hilarious thing. Because I didn't catch it when I was reviewing the video. But somebody caught that. That was hilarious. They caught him in 4K. He was like... Yeah. And look, as guys, we've all done this before. You know? It's just that you hate to be caught in the act. You're like, dang it. Ah! They caught me! You know? Like, I want to be a smooth criminal. I want to, like, you know, I'm a gentleman. I want to respectfully glance, like, you know, I don't want to, like, you know, he got caught in 4K at SoFi Stadium. It's not fun. Not fun. Crazy. Got caught in 4K. Be careful. You better be careful next time you try and glance too hard. Cameras are always rolling. Oh yeah. We can do assessments in California, state of California. We can do assessments in the state of California. Gotta do them piles. Yeah. Gotta be careful. Trisha says, do you have contacts in Canada? All right, so that's Teresa. Teresa, I don't... No medical thing in the U.S. carries over to Canada, so I don't even know the Canadian system. I can't do much in Canada. Outside of comedy, you know. I did a show in Vancouver a month and a half ago, but in terms of like actually the assessment, what I think you're asking about, no, I can't do anything in Canada. I would like to learn, but I don't think I could do anything in Canada. Sucks that that's how it works. Oh, but yeah. But yeah, if you're based in California, Alaska, Washington, Arizona, like anything assessment-wise, right? Like psychiatric evaluation, follow-up appointments, all that stuff. One of those 4 states, but mental health coaching, general stuff that has nothing to do with like, you know, actual diagnoses, that's worldwide. Zilla, we may be able to make it happen. What disorder would cause someone to do better with working more complicated problems versus easier? I don't know if there's a disorder that would do that. And Lala says she, well, Lala, I don't have a state license for there. Oh, I've had a blast in the Berg. But I've been here for a good time, not a long time. So it's been... Why does the light keep fading? So I don't know why the light's doing that, Molly, but I'll keep an eye on that. This is an expensive camera, so it shouldn't be bugging out like that. So, but I see it fading in and fading out, so I'll keep an eye on that. Yeah. Apologies for that. This camera knows better. But no, I've had a great time in the Berg. I love Washington. And yeah, anytime I travel, whether it's Washington, Dallas, or Alaska, South Carolina, it just helps me appreciate Los Angeles much more. Like, I love LA, and it's the greatest city on earth. I said it about Nashville, but you get the point. But in LA, you have to leave every now and then and just like see real life, you know. And then you can do LA. Like, it's a SoCal thing. You either know what I'm talking about because you've been there, or you live there, or you don't. A very interesting place, but I will never, you know, should talk LA. Been very helpful for me. It's a trick. Can ADHD and autism feel like they haven't? So Prince, a lot of people can do that. All right. So can ADHD and autism feel like they haven't accomplished much in life before they get treatment? So when it comes to accomplishments and this need to always be busy or to be getting things done, that could be mental health, but it could also be personality based. It could be from trauma, or it could be maybe you just have a motor that you just do so much. But I don't see much of a, well, at least me, I don't see much of a connection between wanting to do a lot of things and getting treatment. I kind of see a connection between being somebody who is capable and you hit a wall to where you can't go any further without getting help. And then you get help and then you realize that it's ADHD and or autism. Because that was my story, and I know now with social media, I know millions with similar stories, but that's kind of how it works. Like, you find ways to compensate, but at a certain point, you've got nothing left, and then you seek help because you reach a point where you can't go any further. Like you can't move any further. Like you just can't. Right? Zell says, born and raised, do not come to LA unless you know. Yeah, LA. Yeah. You need a. I mean, I think in general you need reason to be in LA or Southern California. Like, you're coming there to pay high taxes and deal with a lot. At least make it worth it. I've 10x'd my followers by being in California. We went from 400,000 to 5 million, so I think California was a pretty good move. But it still doesn't make it harder in some days, and it's been a long. I mean, since COVID, I mean, even before COVID, but the past 4 years have been this long in LA between the fires, and I mean, I don't know, like it feels a bit heavier in California, which is why I've enjoyed my time in Alaska and Tennessee and now Washington. But yeah, LA is still amazing. What are the noticeable differences between OCD and ADHD, or are they mostly coexistent? So, Cassie, I get it when people ask those questions, but sometimes you can have ADHD and OCD. So you have to just break it down to what each one is. And OCD is having these obsessions that lead to very time-consuming compulsions, and it really affects your life. And ADHD is struggling to regulate your mood and your attention. That's as plain and cut and dry as I can say it. But obviously, each of those conditions on its own could make you feel like you're losing it. And combined, that can present a very unique challenge. But if that indeed is somebody's, diagnostic profile, then the treatment wouldn't be that difficult. You hopefully get to a therapist. Try ADHD medications. Make sure you're sleeping. We use antidepressants for OCD, and just having good people around you. Like, I don't think we talk about that enough. Yeah, meds, all that stuff is helpful, but having good people around you. And I think people wonder, like, what's the difference between me and other mental health professionals? Like, I'm not all like medication. No, like, I am gung-ho about diagnoses. Like, you do need to know what you have, if possible. You do need to know that. But meds don't solve everything. People get better without meds. You need to have good people around you, good food, get good sleep, exercise. Like, all that stuff is helpful. So, I'm not going to be pushing meds all the time, but I mean, I take them, but it doesn't mean that they're the end all be all. But there's so much that goes into just feeling good, and I believe that medications are sometimes a small part of it. Versus the Berg. I love them both. Cassie, that looks like a breakup coming. You may have to get a new person. And I don't know why this Sony camera, expensive camera right here. Camera, I'm talking to you. I want to punch the camera. You know better. I ain't pay all this money to be embarrassed on live stream. Come on now. Now, Teresa says cycles of burnout are real and undiagnosed high achievers. Now, Teresa, I do agree with that. Yes. The burnout with high achievers. Yes, you see that. Facts. Big facts. Big facts. Oh, yeah. I have to get up close to the camera because I'm not going to be embarrassed by this camera. And I lost the receipt, so I can't take it back. So, this camera, we're stuck. But nothing embarrassed me. But yeah, Cassie, you may have to look. Some of y'all are new here, but I'm not one to step in between somebody and their, provider. Like I've never done that, never will do that. But all I can say is, sometimes you want a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. If somebody tells me that they want a second opinion, I say sure. Like my ego is not built up in what I do for a living. It's not built up in, and psychiatry is a small part of what I do anyway. Like it really and truly is a side quest for me. I just happen to be so good at it. But I love it. Yeah, but I would never tell anybody to what they should do with their meds or anything like that. But if you're not where you want to be, something's got to change. So maybe just have that talk with your provider, and maybe I'll make some progress. And even if not, maybe get a second opinion from another local provider. But happiness and feeling good is something that we should be. It's worth fighting for, right? Being in a good mood and just feeling good about yourself. All that stuff is worth fighting for. So, but look, I'll see people, like I get DMs all the time, and obviously I'm not replying to DMs where people is medical questions, because there's HIPAA, like you just can't do that stuff. But I see DMs all the time, and like people are talking about real life situations that are actually messed up, and most times they're right. But legally I can't get in between that. I just I'm just y'all's friend on here. Nothing more than a stand-up comedian, right? But I see things that I'm like, ooh, No, it is hard to find some good. It's hard to find some good doctors. Can I say? I guess people have to care. You have to care at least, and you don't have to over care to where it's like if people don't get better, you take it personally. Not like that. Do the best that you can. But a lot of providers, like at the end of the day, it's a job. Whether it's your own business, whether it's a job, and sometimes people go through the motions, and it doesn't make them bad people. It just makes them human. It's kind of like when you found out that your favorite basketball player, football player doesn't love their sport, but they just do it because they're 6'7" and it makes them a lot of money and they're able to take care of their family. I'm not offended. I don't need my point guard to love basketball. Now, I would like for him to love basketball so we can win a championship. But if he doesn't love the game and he just does it because he's good and he wants to feed his family, I think that's fine. The difference is that in healthcare, if you're going through the motions, like if you have a bad day or a bad week and you just stop caring and you still see patients, people's lives are in danger, right? Now, if the point guard of the Lakers stops caring or whatever, like, okay, we don't make the playoffs. So, I will acknowledge that difference right there. I think that's important to say. And also on TikTok, please do not spam the chat. Please do not spam the chat, because if you spam, we spam back. Please, I want everybody to have a good experience. So, no spammers allowed. No spammers allowed, please. No spammers allowed. Oh yeah. I've worked with people who've had TBIs, Can I have OCD and ADHD both? Yeah, people can have both. You're not lying about that. I've been through 5 therapists this year and have taken a break. Guys, and I mean, like, we're all humans, so I think knowing how to compartmentalize and to be a mental health professional and to have a bad day, but compartmentalize to where you can still do your job for your patients and then still process your own feelings, that's an acquired skill. And you really have to have a life outside of what you do, I think. And clearly I do, but you can't make that your identity, you know. Is there a way to test for autism? Almost all your videos are so accurate. Well, Reese, you know, I know a thing or two about what I talk about. You know, the difference between the coaching that I offer, right? Because people don't know this, I have to elaborate. The difference between the coaching that I offer online, right, and the mental health services and the evaluations and all that stuff is that if you don't live in a certain area, you can't get the mental health professional help. But you can get mental health coaching, which is like life coaching. But for what the majority of y'all ask for, unless you live in 4 states, you know, I refer people to do, you know, Google searches and see who is in your area. Because you don't have to come to me. The goal is that you get the help that you need as best as you can. If somebody, you know, works out better for you, like, take the most linear path to, you know, getting the help that you need. But and I'm not sure how people do autism evaluations and assessments. I just have a way of doing it, and it takes 3 appointments, unless you've already had psychiatric evaluation. Then it's 2. But yeah, I'm not sure how other people do things. But like if you're in Tallahassee, Florida, you know, I don't have any Florida license or anything like that. I'd say like do a local search, or, you know, maybe ask AI, like, hey, AI, like, who are the people in my area, you know? Don't ask AI to diagnose you, like, AI's not your doctor, but you can ask AI, say, hey, I just moved to Lakeland, Florida, like, who's in my area for, like, mental health and stuff like that. EMDR can be very helpful. I've thought about doing it myself. EMDR can be helpful. I had a TBI 2 years ago, and my life has been totally ruined. I'm not sure what to do. All right, so here's the thing with TBIs that I wish people knew. And I see my camera doing that thing again, guys. If you see my camera going in and out, just know it's camera. It's technology issues, first world problems. Luckily, I'm so handsome. With TBIs, you can hit your head or have a concussion or experience trauma here, and it can change your personality. You could have mood swings. You could deal with anger. You could be more irritable. You could hear voices. It's a life-changing event, and you know, I talk about how a diagnosis is the most important thing, so you can know what you're treating. But TBI makes it like a wild card. It means you don't know what you're treating, and you really have to work with somebody and understand what else they have. But it may take a couple of appointments, but you build that rapport and you try out different things. But it's helpful finding somebody who understands, you know, what TBIs are and how devastating they can be. You know, but there's definitely opportunity to recover and get better. Just know that. Where do I practice? So I have a locums company, and I travel around the U.S. I'm in Washington currently, and I have a private practice. We're in 4 states. California, let's say Virginia. I have a Virginia license, but we're not open there. California, Alaska, I have a brain fart. Washington and Arizona, you know, and I'm based in Los Angeles, so that's my home base. So I think my California people have a bit of an advantage, because if we open up a physical location It would be in California because, you know, that's my home for now, you know, for now. But right now it's all telehealth, you know. Okay, Carly's girlfriend. What a name. That's the name, Carly's girlfriend. That's a cool last name. Aaron Kelly says, what's your thoughts on nervous system regulation? Oh, my thoughts is you better learn how to regulate your nervous system as soon as you can. You'll make better decisions. You'll have better relationships. You'll have better opportunities. You'll make more money. Everything gets better in life when you regulate your nervous system because it helps you regulate your mood. Right? If you can't regulate your mood, life can be devastating. It's important. It's important. Coco, I'm not too sure with that. I'm not sure. Good question though. How detrimental is not getting sleep? Oh, Mickey, Ficky, Ash. Not getting sleep. I think sleep is an epidemic. Just ask people how much sleep they're getting. Nobody's sleeping nowadays. And that's one of the things making it hard for us to regulate our mood and for us to regulate our attention and for us to regulate our nervous system. So not getting enough sleep is devastating. It can lead to brain fog, memory issues. It can lead to depressive symptoms. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to irritability. It can lead to psychosis. Go long enough without sleep, you will start to hear and see things that only you can see or hear. And I'm not saying that like to challenge y'all. I'm not, you know. I'm just saying that you stay up long enough, there's a good chance you'll hallucinate. You know. Cassie says, how do we do that? What, regulate your mood and your nervous system and your attention? Well, see, and look, if you type this into TikTok, right, or whatever, like, how to regulate your nervous system, you'll see a video of people telling you what to do, okay? And some of that stuff is accurate, because I looked at it, and some of it, I mean, I don't know what to say about it, but until you're getting proper amount of sleep, and you're eating nutritious meals, or at least the majority of your food is healthy for you. If your appetite is regulated and your sleep is regulated and you are making an intentional effort to have non-transactional relationships in your life, that's very important. Non-transactional relationships. Somebody you can kick it with and you need nothing from them, they need nothing from you. And you exercise, all right? And you do your best to read a little bit every day. You do your best to write a little bit every day. You meditate. You pause when speaking. You pause before speaking. You tell yourself that you're safe. You make sure that you put yourself in a safe environment. You make sure that your environment is safe. If you do all these things and you're in an abusive relationship, no, you're not regulating your nervous system. Forget about it. Not saying you don't have hope, but you gotta fix that first. So there's so much that goes into regulating your nervous system. Outside of just mantras, like chanting things or saying affirmations in the mirror, it's a whole lifestyle switch up. And the majority of the things that you have to do to regulate your nervous system are things that you have to avoid. It's not adding things, it's subtracting things. You know, those friends that only hang out with you when y'all get high, they may have to go. They getting high after work every day and may have to go. The relationship that's not going anywhere and you're just in there because, you know, oh well, like, it's somebody, you know, it's cuffing season. Like, that's stuff that you have to let go of to regulate your nervous system. So it's really doing things that you don't want to do. And that's where your breakthrough lies. So, if it's about if you want to do that. And most people get to a point where you go through so much pain that you have no choice but to make these lifestyle changes. That's normally what gets you. Nobody wakes up and they decide that they're tired of being a stoner or they're tired of partying. Oh no, something happened and you're like, all right, okay, cool. I'm out the game. I'm out the game. I'm out the game. I lost many friends when I stopped partying. Yeah, but that's what's going to happen. Because why do you like your friends? You like your friends because you have similar interests. Right? But if you hang around people who party all the time, guess what? You're going to be a partier. You're going to be really good at partying. And that might not be a bad thing. It's not my thing, but you'll be really good at, like turning up and, like depending on where you're at, you're in Michigan. You can be turning up in Detroit and Grand Rapids and like you're the turn up girl or whatever. But, like sometimes you have to ask yourself, if we're being honest here, like you have to take audit of your life. And I'm not saying that this is you, Cassie, but I'm just saying, like, if you're the turn up girl, and you're always like turning up and like you're always like having a fun time, and you're stuck in life, like you're not in a relationship that you want to be in, or you're not making the progress with school or work. You have to ask yourself, like, who are my friends? If all of your friends and your girlfriends are all like turn up girls, you're gonna become a better turn up girl. If you have friends who are, working on regulating their nervous system and they're getting sleep and they're exercising and they're losing weight and they're getting finer, then if all your friends are like that, if your 5 best friends are like that, then you're going to be the 6th, fine best friend, because that's what they're doing. They're working on themselves. But if you hang out with people who do a certain thing that you don't want to do, you're going to have to stop hanging out with them if you want different. So there's a lonely period, and it's not like specific to women. Like it's happened for me. Like I've had to go through a lonely, and I'm still in that phase where I had to stop hanging out with certain people. I'm like, I don't want this. Like I have way more to lose than you, first and foremost. I left group messages. Like, don't tell me what Cardi B did or like what girl is thick on Instagram. I don't care. I don't need help getting women. I need more help getting more business. I need more employees. I need more systems. I need more revenue. I need more capital. I need more collaborations. I'm trying to open up more companies. I'm trying to do things. Don't talk to me about this indica. I don't care what strain was released. I don't care. I don't care. If it's not about building systems and automating things and finding good employees and increasing revenue, I don't care. So you go through a lonely period where it's only you, and then you find other crazy people like you who are willing to sacrifice, and they're on that same type of time. So it takes a while, but you will find your people. You'll find your folks. What was your successful research in becoming more well-known on here than others? Just curious. So, leader, what's your question? I don't understand it. What was your successful research in becoming more well-known on here than others? Just curious. So, I didn't do any, of course, I did research to earn my doctorate, right? I did a paper on substance use. That was my paper. I did a 78-page paper on substance use to earn my, my doctoral degree. Yes, but in terms of becoming big on TikTok, I didn't write about no publishing, I never promoted a certain medication. I never promoted a certain type of therapy. I never had like a philosophy on how I did things. I was just myself. I was just my damn self. Just myself, just showing who I am, my personality, not hiding who I am, and making my videos. Like, I just do my thing. I don't care about what other people are doing, and I don't know what other mental health professionals are doing. Like, I'm in my own lane. I'm one of one. There's nobody like me, and other people there's nobody like them. So I've just never really, I don't even look at myself as a mental health thing. I just happen to know a lot about this because I'm good at it. It's not my identity. Even stand-up comedy is not my identity. I like stand-up. I like to laugh. So I pursued it, and I'm going to keep pursuing. Like, I just do what I want to do. So that's my research, or that's my, I guess how I got big on TikTok. I just did what I wanted to do. I want to do comedy, I started doing comedy. I wanted to, put out raps on the internet, and I did it, and it went viral. Like everything that I do turns to gold. Not because I'm the most talented. I am pretty talented, but I just never give up. Just never give up, and I am who I am. So that's kind of how I got big on TikTok, and also I started posting late 2019. So I started early. I had first mover's advantage. I just started earlier than everybody else, and that probably is the most repeatable thing anybody can do. So whenever there's a new app or there's a new feature that TikTok drops, like hop on that as soon as possible. And YouTube, I don't know how much they like when you talk about other platforms, but whatever is new in your industry on social media, if you adopt it early, like you're probably gonna do better than most people. So adopt it early, show yourself. Don't, I think it helped me that when I first started posting content regularly on TikTok, I moved away from Georgia. I moved to Southern Virginia where I knew nobody. So I was in a space where I was free to be myself. And also I was finally making, I don't want to say real money, but I had I had bills, and I just had a lot of financial pressure on my head. So I was able to make money and clear up my debt and breathe for the first time in my life. So because I was able to, kind of catch my breath financially, and nobody was around me. It was just me, so I got to be as me as possible. So all the weird things that I would do, I just filmed the weird. I mean, not all the weird shit. You can't put all the weird things online. I don't want to get banned. I don't want to be, prevented from going to elementary schools. You feel me? I'm not gonna do every. Don't show yourself completely, but I just started to just be me online. But once again, I had an environment that allowed me to do that. So I think the lesson there is, number one, get to the bag however you can get to the bag in your industry. Just, stay out of trouble, go to work, just, make money and stack up, and get away from people, get away from people and just find your space where you can think and do what you want to do. Because everybody wants you to do something, but what do you actually want to do? So I just got to a space where and I did have a girlfriend at the time. She was flying in from Savannah, Georgia. She didn't persuade me anyway. She wanted me to do what I wanted to do. So the people that were around me weren't trying to convince me to do anything. So by the time I started posting on social media consistently, I was fully me. And I'm still me. And we've gotten this far. So sometimes I'm shocked by how far we've gotten. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If I said I wasn't shocked, I'd be lying. I knew I would do good, but I didn't know that things could get this good. So now that I'm here, now I'm really becoming crazy. Now I'm asking myself, how much higher can we go? How far can we take this thing? I didn't know this was possible. So what else is in front of me that I'm doubting is possible? So nothing is impossible. I can do anything I put my mind to. Your mannerisms is similar to Derek Luke. Well, that's a compliment to Derek Luke. Shout out to him. Bring your girlfriend on stream. A grown man asking me to bring my old lady on stream? Come on now. Leader 17, I appreciate you. But that's a big reason why the neurodivergent community that I've started, if you go to my profile or you hit the Service Plus button here and drop your email and we send you the link, the neurodivergent community that I'm building here, I want to put together a group of individuals who are all working towards something. Because I started on TikTok in 2019 December. And I've been going up, and as I'm going up, people are saying, "Oh, congratulations! Oh, congrats! You got a book deal. You did the Today Show. You promoted the Oscars. I saw you do your comedy show in Hollywood. Congrats!" And I'm like, "Thank you." But I've always wondered, when has that conversation shifted to what are you doing? How we should all be getting better.
We're not just watching one person level up. We should all be leveling up. And we can all do extraordinary things. And it really boils down to what you don't do. You don't have to do anything big. Just stop getting high. Stop getting drunk. You know, stop sleeping with people that don't like you. You know, and if you can relate, and if it hurts, good. Because that could be the first step to you getting left back on track. You got this. I only slept 2 hours. I feel like this is a warning sign of hypomania, bipolar 2. I'm not saying that you get bipolar 2, but 2-3, like when you're sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night and you're not missing it, like that's within that spectrum of bipolarity. You know. Oh, we're at 30K likes. I wouldn't even look at the likes. Cassie said, I'm already... Cassie, you're doing a good job. I promise you're doing a good job. And look, if you're on my live stream, like if you're a part of my community, I would say that you're doing a good job, because nobody ends up on here like intentionally, I believe, you know? Because if you look at the way the internet works, it's run off of algorithms. They're going to push the most viral content. And my content is like, it's lively. Like I use songs when I'm showing like a certain condition. You know, we got the raps. Like I make my content lively on purpose, because if I get on camera and if every video is, guys, here's the song, people don't want that. People want skits. People want public skits. People want stuff at the airport. They want stuff in Nashville. They want stuff in LA. They want stuff in Washington, I'm sure. They want lively content. So that's why I go to great lengths to have the best possible people in the skits and to switch it up. But you're not going to connect with the people they want to connect with just posting like boring content or like, guys, here, you know, and even when I'm saying the science or something, it's so lively. And I do this because mental health, nobody wants to talk about mental health in general. Like nobody wakes up and like, let me go watch a mental health guy on TikTok. No. People wake up like, oh, let me see who got into a fight with what, or, you know, like who broke up with who. You know, because negative news travels further than like people want negativity more than they want something that's positive. So I gotta trick y'all's brains into finding out ways to put the content out there. So that's gonna be a challenge. And for those of y'all watching at home, I don't know how the algorithm works specifically, but I know that if it's a video talking about ADHD, right? Or let's say it's one of those autism relationship skits, the ones that get 15, 20 million views, all right? And it's the girl who's overstimulated at the football game. That video will come to your algorithm, to your timeline, if you've watched similar videos. So you probably are overwhelmed and overstimulated and looking to regulate your nervous system. So the algorithm knows what you like. And then after you watch a couple of videos, then they send you my video. And then you follow because you're already primed to fix these problems. Like you want to sleep at night. You want to wake up and eat. You want to regulate yourself. You want to have better relationships with the people in your life. So because the algorithm knew that you wanted that type of video, it put it there in front of you. So now you are primed to take advantage of all of this stuff. But I don't think anybody wakes up and they're like, oh, I'm gonna talk about mental health. You know, like people want things that are gonna provide them with value. But you still have to put it in a certain way, I believe. Can you make a YouTube video about autism at the workplace? Oh yeah, I will screenshot that and I will put it on my list. Guys, we are on YouTube. And see, this is how I know that algorithms are real. Like we're on YouTube, we have well over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have a big community on every platform. That was one thing that I was a little insecure about maybe 3 years ago when I was only big on TikTok and I didn't have, well, no, I had a Facebook community. Like Facebook, y'all been rocking out with me for a long time, so I want to say thank you. But and Instagram too. But I could not crack YouTube for the longest, and my Instagram, yeah, well, I've had Instagram followers for a while, but I couldn't crack YouTube. So YouTube was what I was insecure about because I wanted parity on all of the social media platforms. Because you start posting content, and initially you're in disbelief. You're like, maybe it's a fluke. 500,000 followers. Oh, it's a fluke. 1 million followers. Oh my gosh, 1 million? Nah, it's not real. 1.5 million? Maybe. 2 million followers. I think they like me. But then I had to get, 1 million followers on Facebook to feel a certain way. And then, I think when I finally got 100,000 on YouTube, I was like, okay, all right. I think they finally like me now. But now we're past 200,000 on YouTube, and next year we're gonna cross 1 million because I've already put my mind, to that. But sometimes, like, y'all don't know that because algorithms, like, maybe you're not on YouTube and watching the shorts. So sometimes you do have to put in somebody's name to see if you can follow them, and it won't just come up on your algorithm. But TikTok has the best algorithm. I will say that. My algorithm feeds my Really? It feeds your delusion? And R Raptor says, autistic level 1 with ADHD, narcolepsy, and depression. Struggling with self-care this week. Well, so first and foremost, let me bring this camera up a little bit more. Let me figure out how we can stabilize this. Who's bugging out? First and foremost, thank you for sharing. And I see comments like that, and I think to myself, what piece of content would be, and I took a screenshot, what piece of content could help to illustrate this? Because if you're struggling with self-care and on the spectrum, and you got ADHD, and you have narcolepsy, and you have depression, so it's like you can't sleep at night, and then in the daytime, you're falling asleep all the time because of the narcolepsy, and then the depression keeps you in bed, and you're having a hard time taking a shower or brushing your teeth. Then my brain gets to thinking, okay, what type of a skit could be done and brought to life so that somebody like you can send that to a loved one and then they can get it. Because if you're tired and you're in bed, you don't have the energy to explain yourself. That's too draining. But sharing a video is much quicker. So that's what I'd be thinking about. A scale on high masking ADHD, bipolar women in the workplace or in family life. I like that. I'm thinking of that. And next weekend is recording weekend, so I got my ideas, and I'm looking to bring a lot of these to life and to connect. I know an idea is good when it's connected with people, and I know an idea is bad when I'm thinking of how many views it's going to get. I'm not sure if other creators talk about that, but like after you get lots of views, we do go into a loophole where we're like, how can I get the most views? So I have to talk myself out of that and say, how can I connect? And normally if you connect, you get views. Self-care. No, self-care is hard. It's hard. Can being put under anesthesia affect bipolar too? See, like the reason why as mental health professionals we always say, talk to your local provider, because a million things could affect bipolar, right? A relationship, not getting enough sleep, a lot of cross-country travel, stress from work, an increase in stress that came out of nowhere, and then you're a woman, so hormones affect everything. So a million things can affect it. So you wouldn't really know, and maybe even your qualified healthcare professional wouldn't know, but they could really take a deep dive and really get into the nitty gritty and see what's going on. Because if you feel like you felt off ever since, don't gaslight yourself. Like, there's a reason why you don't feel good. You feel me? Don't gaslight yourself. I'm struggling with all the terrible things going on right now. Jennifer, elaborate a little bit more on that. What do you mean all the terrible things going on right now? Are you talking about the fact that Oregon lost to Indiana? Or like real world stuff? Given the state of the world, maybe that wasn't a good joke. Anytime, Sarah, I appreciate you.
being a mom who is neurodivergent is extremely difficult. Nah, they can be hard. They can be hard. I gotta find some ways to get some neurodivergent mom content out. And K Knight says, I'm weird. It bothers me that your background has no lines or contrast. Blue and white back, no corners. Miss Knight, it used to bother me that my background is plain and not as much. It probably should bother me more. I'd like to make my background a bit more fancy. I see how other creators do it, so we'll look to eventually make this background kind of nice. Right now, we're just gonna depend on rely on my handsome looks. It's been working so far. Real world stuff. All right, so Jennifer, here's the thing about being concerned about real world things. And I feel like a lot of autistic people get caught into this trap where they'll be concerned about real world things that are important. Like what's happened to like Gaza, immigrants, and like politics. And like I'm not qualified to speak on all I know is I post my skits. I talk about mental health, like that's what I know. I talk about sports, but there's real world things that are very distressing, and when you focus on real world things that you're not able to tangibly impact, it makes you frustrated. So you're right, all those things that are happening are really bad, but I didn't lose connection on my end, but it says that we lost it. Hopefully I come back soon. Me and my 3-year-old both working on emotional regulation. Hey, look, you're learning at the same time. Look, Oregon shouldn't have lost to Indiana. Like, we need to talk about that. I don't know if y'all keep up with sports, but Oregon had no business losing to Indiana, and that shocked me. Alabama won, so I'm good, but I'm just shocked that Oregon would drop that game. Oregon should not drop that game. That's crazy. I'm a mom with ADHD and suspect my child also has ADHD. It's a struggle. I may have to go get some kids for these kids. Not in real life. Relax. I may have to get some kids for these kids so we can... I may have... Okay. That's an untapped area that we haven't gone into yet. I know it's hard, parenting, especially when you have your own neurodivergent needs. It ain't easy. It is not easy. Wow, 34.9K likes. Now I'm looking at it. Wow, thank you. And where am I on this leaderboard? How do you even navigate this thing? There was a way to find out where I'm at. Oh, it says the popular live. Real-time top 10 creators will get featured in search. All right, so I have a question for y'all. Those y'all watching on TikTok especially. How does this live stream pop up for y'all? Because I'm going to start scheduling them, so I'll schedule them, attach them to videos, so y'all be given a heads up to come and join the live. But for the majority of y'all, does this pop up on your feed and like you're doom scrolling and you decide to hop in? Like, how does that work? I'd like to get some information on that. Popular live. Oh, some people have 200,000 likes. Bagel, Living Large, Mama Mia, Hype House. Okay, Mama Mia. Shout out to you. Big Sean, Julia Shea, Daily Rankin. Oh, okay, all right. So people got some likes. Respect. At least we're ranked in the popular live feature. I'll take it. I will take it. Lauren says FYP while scrolling, and I follow you on Facebook. Okay. Shout out to Facebook, always come through it. Clutch. Neurodivergent parenting. I like that. Charlie, I like that. So, Crazy Green Mama says, For You page. And Crazy Green Mama's bio says, Mama of 2 kids, 5 and 19. RN, Mama of autistic kid. I can't see the rest. I like to read bios because I'm nosy, but it also helps to give a snapshot of the people who choose to follow. So thank you for your attention. RB says, Roll Tide, Roll Tide. So Lauren also follows on Facebook. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm learning a lot here. Crazy Green Mama. This connection tripping. Come on, don't trip now. Okay, it's getting a little bit better. All right, let's figure out the live schedule for the rest of the week. Appreciate you. My live schedule for the rest of the week. I know we can schedule the times on TikTok, so we'll definitely do that. You can also schedule by the topic too, which is really cool. Lauren, I appreciate that. Look, I got, a fairly similar, population of people who follow me, but it's a little different on the different platforms. YouTube Shorts is a little younger than everything else. TikTok is kind of mature, but Facebook is a little older. I'm not saying old, just slightly older. So, and Instagram, I have no idea, who is following there, but we're still growing. But making sure that I can show love to, all my boys and girls on all the platforms is always a priority for me. And let me see. So, the schedule. Let me pull up my schedule so I can. I've never scheduled a live, like the lives for the week on TikTok. I will attempt. Actually, no, there's no attempt. I will do it now. Ain't no trying. We just do. Alright. My schedule calendar. There's a travel week coming up, so there won't be a live stream on next week, Friday, because of the travel week. And also for those of y'all who are in California, Southern California, come on out to the Fourth Wall Comedy Club. I'll be performing. That's my home club, and it's 5220 Hollywood Boulevard. But you can use the Service Plus button to get more information. But yeah, so that'll be next week, October 18th, for those of y'all in Southern California. But we film all the shows, so we'll bring the jokes to you on TikTok. Let me see. Tomorrow we will. Okay, all right. So tomorrow I'm gonna make the schedule right now. Let me see when the Titans play. I gotta make sure I watch my full game. 1 o'clock West Coast time.
All right, okay, all right. The signal keeps going in and out. I guess they're kicking up the live stream. Spectrum Internet. Crazy Green Mom said, my daughter said Facebook is for old people. Well, that's what your daughter said, not me. But she's kind of right. Older people. You feel me? All right, so the Tennessee Titans play the Las Vegas Raiders at 1:05 p.m. tomorrow. All right, so we'll live stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. West Coast time. Put it right here, Sunday. And if you have ADHD, like me, the best time to do anything is right now. You know, you're always like, oh, I'm gonna do this and no, just do a damn thing now. Tomorrow 5 p.m. West Coast time in the live stream. And Monday, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, and all right. So Monday through Thursday is gonna be 8 p.m. West Coast time, which is 11 o'clock for my boys and girls in New York, Atlanta, 10 o'clock Nashville. And for my UK community, it's like 4 a.m. for y'all. So, I know I hate that. Shelly, yeah. If you say you'll do it later, it never happens. Have you realized that anytime you're like, oh, I'll do it later, you never do that thing? Like, just stop doing later. Just do it now. And I'm not talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself. Just no later. Just do the damn thing right now. All right, so how does that look? Sunday, 5 o'clock tomorrow. Hopefully the Titans game does not go into overtime. Because if it does, I will watch it. Maybe I'll watch it while I'm on live. Monday is Columbus Day. Cool. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All right, cool. Perfect. And then Friday is Friday is Friday is a travel day, so Friday will be an off day, and then it's a recording weekend. Gotcha. I also feel like I have to do certain things first before I can do the next thing, which slows me down. Right, and in general, we should do things in order of priority. So you do the most important thing first. But if you want to do something else before the priority thing, and that thing takes like 1 or 2 minutes, yes, you can do it. But if it's like a whole nother task, don't do it. And if you don't listen to that, you will eventually after you learn the hard way. But if it can be done in 1 or 2 minutes, yeah, just do it then. But if it, if it prevents you from doing a priority task, then no, don't. Get the most important thing done first, and then we go from there. Priority gets blurry. It does a lot of times. All right. Okay, guys. So I'll put the live stream schedule on TikTok so that way y'all can see it. So it should be set up for the week. I like this planning. I like this organization. 40,000 likes as well. Thank you very much. I was not keeping tabs on the likes because I just never do, but now I will start to keep tabs on the likes. I see that we've been marked as a popular live league, D2 top 100%. I don't know what that means, but the people who are here are the most important anyway. So I appreciate y'all. 40.1k likes. I think this is a record for us. It was 32 last time. I remember that. But yeah, this is cool. We will keep the momentum going, and we're gonna have more fun here. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock West Coast time, it's 8 o'clock if you're on the East Coast. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is gonna be 8 o'clock on the West Coast time. And Friday, travel day. I'm not gonna do that to myself. I know how hectic travel days are, and it's just, it's a miracle for me to, catch a plane, and I've been able to make these miracles happen as of late. So we're not gonna put too much on a travel day, but we have the 5 live streams set up for the week, and we'll see how this looks like being organized. Y'all said that it's better to have a schedule, and I know that, but kind of like y'all, that it's better to be organized, but we don't want to do it. We want to do what we want to do. Damn it, we don't want to organize ourselves, but we will organize ourselves, starting with tomorrow, 5 o'clock, and then Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock California time. So it will be on my TikTok page, Crazy Green Mama. Nice to meet you. I appreciate you. It'll be on my TikTok page, and the very next live will be there for sure. And I think that y'all will get all the lives from there. And I'll attach some videos to the live stream, so that way it goes out to more people for them to register. And the last thing to do is to just start on time. All right. So great live stream, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for checking in on a Washington Saturday night. We have had fun here. I will see you all tomorrow, and for the